Hi, welcome to Kev's Crafty Corner. Today we're going to make a box and we're going to be doing it in Inkscape, and then we're going to output that as an SVG and then you can use that in your cutting machine. I'm going to do it on a Cricut today, but it could be a scan and cut, it could be a silhouette. As long as it can read an SVG, this will work. Okay, so let's move over to Inkscape and let's see what we can do. Right, Inkscape. Now, those of you who've never used it, it's a free SVG or vector graphics program which is available from the internet. Just Google Inkscape and then download it for Windows and Mac, also Linux as well. When you've installed it, fired it up, your screen should look a little bit like this, as you can see now. I've got it in full screen mode, so my menu is hidden across the top. It's just the way I like these things. Nice big screen. And this is the page border that's showing, and it's an A4 that it's set to at the moment as by default in the UK. And this is the default view. Tools down this side, options across the top, information here, and then the snapping control down the side here. Across the bottom, a colour selection, and that you can scroll using this bar here. There's loads of them. And this tells you at the bottom here what colour you've selected for your fill and your stroke, and then there's information across the bottom here. X and Y coordinates are showing where the actual mouse is, as you can see as I'm moving it around, the numbers are changing. This one here shows you the zoom level that you're set to, and I can't remember what that one does. Okay, so what we're going to do is introduce a box, and we're going to do that by clicking up here, which is create rectangles and squares, and you notice it's got the letter R next to it. Now that R represents the keyboard shortcut, so if I don't click the box but I actually press the R on my keyboard, you can see the cursor has changed to a little box next to the side of it. So I touch the mouse, hold the mouse button down and drag my mouse around, you can see I'm drawing a rectangle. So we'll do that. And we can see there's a circle here as opposed to two squares. If I pull down on that circle, I can round the corners, but I want to leave it as a square at the moment. So let me go back to select and transform objects. So what I could have done, so that's gone back to being selected as the box, as you can see there. But if I just press the S key, then I don't need to keep going backwards and forwards up to here, which is quite useful. That's a bit distant, isn't it, on the screen here? So let's zoom that in. Now I can either come down here and type in a zoom level. So I can type in 100. And there we are, 100%. Let's put it back to where it was, 35. But on the menu options up here, on view, you've got zoom there as well. So you can zoom up using here. But you see these numbers down the side here? These are your keyboard shortcut numbers. Try and remember some of these because they're very useful. And number 5 is the one I use a lot, which is the page. So just click on the screen, press number 5, and then that zooms the page up so it fills the screen. And it saves you having to keep changing numbers or using the scroll on your keyboard or whatever, on your mouse. You can do it that way. Right, so we've got a box. Let's decide what size we're going to make this box. Now, this is for somebody particular, but this box dimensions we're going to try are these. So I'm going to click on the text tool, and I'm just going to type it up here so we've got it available. So it's 115 millimeters by 45 millimeters by 13 millimeters high. Okay, let's select our box and let's make that then these dimensions. So let's go for a width of 45. And let's go for a height. I'm using the tab key to move across between those two boxes, and then enter key to select it. You'll notice that the lock here isn't closed, so I can enter individual numbers. If it was closed, whatever I type in there, it would proportionally move it over here, so we get proportional sizes. So there's our box. Lovely. However, the actual size of box that we need, we've got to add 13 millimeters round each edge for the height. 13 there, 13 there, 13 there, 13 there, So effectively 26 added onto each of these numbers. So 45 plus 26 is 71. So we'll change that to 71. 115 plus 26 is 141. And we'll change that up there. So that's now the total amount of cut of your material that you need to do to produce your box. Brilliant, but we need to put our 13mm allowance, make it easy to work with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this box relative to the screen on the X and the Y coordinates. Now the X and the Y is X is across, Y is down on the dimensions or your ruler or however you want to look at it. So I'm going to put the box here. So if I change these, just in case you're not sure what I mean, if I change that to 0, you now see that's gone to the side because that's across, that's going that way. It's in the relative to this corner here. So if I change the Y also to be 0, it moves it to the top of the screen in the corner there, which we can work with. That is fine. So let's move that over the way there. Now I'm going to select my box and I'm going to press the number 3 key, which will zoom me to that drawing, specific item that I've selected. Now I want to draw some lines to represent the scoring of where we're going to score down so we can fold it up to get our sides, our height. So I'm going to use the Bezier tool here, which is this one, which is B, as you can see there. So click the B and that changes the view. So I'm going to come up to the top here and I'm going to click anywhere, draw down. Now if you can notice it's moving around, which is not really ideal because you want it dead straight. So if you hold, now I'm using a Mac and this is the control key on the Mac. I'm not quite sure which one you do on the Windows, so just press one of the tool keys and you'll find out which one it is. When you get to where you want it to be, double click it to finish. And there we have our straight line. Press the S key, so I'm no longer selected that option there. Now I want that to be on the cross, I want it to be 0, and on the Y I want it to be 13 because it's 13mm in. Width, that's oops, the other way around. I've got them around the wrong way, silly boy. So 0 for the Y and 13 for the X. So we're going across, not down. The width, this is how wide this actual line's going to be. It's only going to be a scoring line, so it only needs to be 0.1. Doesn't need to be very thick at all. 0.1. I need to change that somewhere else because that's actually a stroke, and we can see down here it's saying that stroke figures there. Whoops, stop it. I'll show you how we change that in a second. So I want a second one of those, so I'm going to do Command D. I'm on a Mac, so Command D is the same as Control D on a Windows machine. That's why I'm not too sure which key you press to when I said Control, keep it in a straight line. You need to find the actual one on your Windows machine. Sorry about that, but I'm sure it's only one of the option keys at the bottom. You can soon work it out. Now I'm going to move that across, and that needs to be, because we've added there's our dimensions here, isn't it? So because we've added 23 to the sides of the box, that's going to be, it's going to be 45 plus. So we're coming across the Y, it's got to be 0, and oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing, that's why it don't look right. So we're on this one. So our box is 45 wide plus 13, so that's 45, 55, 58. So these lines need to be the same height as this, so the height needs to be 141. 141. Should have checked that before I did that. 141. Okay. Now we need to do a similar thing for going across. B for Bezier tool, click here, come across, hold the control key, double click at the end, there's my line, select it. So our X needs to be 0, our Y needs to be 13, and our width needs to be 71. Yep, brilliant. Command D to duplicate it, scroll down, and using the down arrow key, and I'm holding the shift key to speed it up. Okay, so our box going down, it's 115 plus 13, 115, 125, 131. So the Y needs to be at 131. There we are. Brilliant. So now we have our basic box. Press the S key, or anywhere, just click anywhere to get off so we're not selected to it. Lovely. So let's zoom back out to just all our drawing, which is number 4, so we can see all our text there. Probably don't need that now actually, because we've done our little bit, haven't we? So let's number 5 to get the screen back in place, number 4 to select everything. Brilliant. Now we need to do some cuts. That don't look even, does it? 128, it might be better, wouldn't it? Okay. Now what we need to do is put a cut in. We're going to put a cut in here like this, like a triangle, into there, and into there, and into there. Now one thing that's important, when you move stuff out of Inkscape, it needs to be set to, everything needs to be set to be a path. So if I select the box at the moment, it says it's a rectangle. That's no good. It needs to be a path. And the way we do that is we come up to here, and we've got this path option. You see this object to path, and that says we need to do this as your keyboard shortcut. I'm just going to select, because I've got it already highlighted, I'm going to select object to path. And if we notice down here now, it says path 4 nodes. The lines are already paths because we've drawn it with the Bezier tool. So there's the rectangle, circle, text, anything needs to be changed to a path if you're going to be able to import it into your cutting machine. Otherwise it won't work. Now I'm going to turn on the grid so I can see where we are. Give me a you'll see in a minute what I'm going to do, because it makes it a lot easier to do these cuts that we're going to put on. So I'm coming up to this document properties box here, and I'm going to go to grids, and I'm going to go for a new rectangular grid. Make sure it's enabled visible and snap is there, and I'm going to have the spacing set to 1 millimeter. There's the millimeter there. Now, because if you did it straight away, you'd have all of the lines, there'd be so many of them, you wouldn't be able to see them properly. So the zoom that we're on at the moment, they're every 5, I think they are. So it looks about right, doesn't it? 5, 10, yeah, because that's at 13, 15, yeah. So once they're there, you can click off that box. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this corner here. So I'm going to use the zoom tool, which is this one here. And I'm going to come up to where I want it to be, drag a box around it, and then zoom in. Now you can see we're getting more grid lines. Right, so now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are seeing every millimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes. What I want to do is make these lines a little bit thinner. So I'm going to go back to full screen for a moment, and I'm going to introduce some of the boxes that we can get down the side here. So I'm going to go for this one, which is edit objects, colors, gradients, arrowheads, everything else. So click that, and that'll bring us a box here. Another drop down that's useful is the objects one. So come up to here, object, click where it says objects. Now we've got this objects one. So we've got the fill and the stroke, and we've got objects. Now we can see our objects here now. There's the rectangle, although it's a path, but it still shows it as being a rectangle. And then we've got these 4 paths here. So what I want to do is I want to select the first one, come to the fill and stroke, and I want to change that width to be 0.1. And I'm going to do the same for each of these other ones. I'm just going to select it this way. Enter. That one there. 0.1. Enter. And then this one here. Oops. Yeah, got it. 0.1. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to zoom into this area here and introduce the cut that we need. So I'm going to use the zoom tool, zoom in, it's just moving the screen around with my mouse. We've actually got a touchpad, but that's beside the point. So we've got this line here, make sure it's on the 13, which because I've changed the size it's moved it slightly, so that should be on the 13. Enter. And that one there doesn't really, well, it should be exactly on 13. So just check all your lines are on 13. Now select the box, so you make sure you've got your box selected, and then go to this tool here, which is the edit path by nodes tool. So I'm going to do that, and now you notice that's changed to a diamond. And what I want to do is I want to have a cut that's coming in here, and I want it to be about 5 millimeters. So we end up with about a centimetre chopped out of here. So come up 5 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on there double click. So you end up with a triangle. Do the same here on the line. Double click, and then come down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double click. Then what you do is you get hold of that one there and you pull it in till it gets to that line there and let go. Now we have a cut line coming in there. So now scroll across till we get to the other side and do the same again. One in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are millimeters, remember. And then grab the middle one and then slide it in till you get to the center line. This is why I like to have the grid on and the snapping, because it makes life a lot easier. So let's come down. Oh, what we didn't check is that this one is on the line. It's not. It should be on 58, shouldn't it? Okay, so come back and make sure your intersection, which I think it will be anyway because it will have gone to the grid. So we come down to this line here now and make sure that is on 128 exactly. There it goes. Select your box, select the node tool, press the N key, double click on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and slide it in. Okay. Press the S key to go back to normal selection, and then press the number 4 key to zoom into everything, and this is what we should see at the moment. So we've done 3 sides, we've just got to do this one down here. So let's zoom into that one. Select the node tool, double click that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide it in. Post in. number 4. So we zoom out to see what we've got. So what we've got then is there's our box. So we're going to fold this section up, fold this as 2 tabs. That's going to fold up, that's going to fold up, that's going to fold up, and that's going to fold in as a tab, fold in as a tab, and you're going to glue that bit to that bit, that bit to that bit, that bit to that bit, that bit to that bit. These black lines are score lines, and there is the bottom of your box. So let's just zoom out to the page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it all and group it, Command G. All of these commands you can get from object, you group in object. There you see it says Command G, ungroup, Shift Command G, but actually Shift U also works. Control U also works to ungroup as well. Now what we need to do is make a lid to sit on the top of it, and I tend to find about a 3mm increase in the size all round makes the box work quite well. So let's duplicate that one, duplicate it. I'm going to change its colour to a blue so we know it's a different to what we've already got. I think what I'm going to do is turn the grids off. So if we go up to view, page grid, there it goes. Okay, so here's our duplicate, and we need to increase that by 3mm both sides. So with the lock on, with the lock off, sorry. So 71 plus 3 is 74, and 144. So we've got our bottom and we've got our top. So if I bring that to the front, which is these ones here, yeah, so we select that one, and we can align them. So for that aligning, you need this option here. So we go to align and distribute. We've got them both selected, selection area, center them, top and bottom, and as you can see now that's going to sit slightly over the top when we cut them. Fan-dabby-dozy. Now one thing to remember, and let's put them back together again, Command Z, undo. When you bring them into Cricut Design Space, it will not remember the correct size. This is why we put them one on top of the other, select all of them, and make a note of the sizes that we've got there. So we've got a width of 74 and you've got a height of 144 in millimeters. Remember, that's millimeters. Yep. Save it, because we haven't saved anything yet, have we? File, save, and we'll call that box for cutting. Call it anything you like really, but just call it that for now. Now we're going to go into Design Space. Oh look, I've already got it open. So I'm going to upload an image, browse to that image, box for cutting, so that's the one we've just done, and open it. Because it's an SVG, there's no tidying up to do, and we save it. And we select it, and we insert it. Oh look, how small it is. So come up to the width, make sure the lock's on, which it generally is, and your width is 74 millimeters, but this is in centimeters, so it's 7.4, and that should be 144 centimeters, 144 millimeters, which it is. Brilliant. So we've got two groups, so we need to ungroup them. But what we've got to be careful of is when we ungroup, is it going to ungroup everything? Aha, good. It's kept the cutting lines, which is what I wanted it to do. We need to change the, sorry, not the cutting lines, the scoring lines. So we need to change the scoring lines to scores, don't we? Because at the moment they're set to cut. So if we look at that, it's still a group. But if we do the individual ones, we can select them and change each one. But it's going to be much quicker. So ungroup that. hide that bit, and then you can select these like that and change them to score lines. Put the box back on. Nope, don't do that. Select that, put that back to a cut. I made a bit of an error there. Don't do that. Let's do the second one. So this one here, ungroup it, hide the background, select the lines, change them to score lines, click off, go back to the box and bring it, okay, switch it back on again. It's changed that one as well because it was there, although it was hidden. That's a bit strange. Anyway, put that back to cut. Now what you need to do is attach everything, and I think we'll attach them individually as still as boxes. So there's that lot, attach it. There's that lot, attach it. Now what I might do is change that colour. I can't now, can I? Because I've attached it. Detach it. Select the box, change its colour so it's the same as the other one. Let's reattach it. Now we can go to make it. And there we have that. Will fit on. Will it fit on A4? Yep, it'll fit on A4. So you can get the two pieces on A4. And then we send it to cut, and we'll see how it turns out and put it together. So I'm going to cut this on a serial box just to see that it works and show you the sizes. And it's asked for the double scoring wheel and the deep cut blade. So let's go for it. I'll zip this forward quite quickly because a lot of people know how it cuts. So it's going to score first, and then change the blade over, and then it'll cut. Okay, so it's now asking you to change over from the scoring wheel to the deep cut blade, which we will do. Attempt to do it one-handed. And that way it goes on the cut. So we'll come back to it when it's finished cutting. Okay, so we've finished cutting, we'll eject the mat and then we'll see what the results are. Well, here's the results of the cutting machine. As you can see, we've got two pieces. Ignore the fact it's a serial box on the other side, this is just for demonstration. So I'm going to fold on the score lines. That one there, that one there, and then the tabs fold in. Making sure I get them square. Actually, I'm folding them the wrong way, that's why it don't look right. folding it that side, shouldn't I? That's better. Sorry about that. Folding them the wrong way around. So it's important that you fold into the, probably can't see the crease lines on there. You need to fold it the correct way around, which is that way. Folds much easier than when you're trying to fight with it. So then when you've folded them, we then get the glue. And if you look at where the tab's going to fit, and you must make sure this angle here must be a right angle, so you need to be careful when you glue them together. You see where you need to put your glue. I tend to glue this side rather than the tab, and then you can slide so it's sitting up nicely, nice and straight. So if you don't get it vertical, it doesn't sit right. That's not quite right. That's it. That's better. Gone in a bit too far. And you just wipe off any glue. This pin flare stencil glue dries clear anyway, so you won't see that excess glue. You could actually make these cuts slightly smaller than the size that we did it. Have an experiment and see whether you can adjust it to your best design. Okay, that's the one to join the glue together. Look, if you see any excess glue, just dry it off, wipe it off even. Not sure whether that's the top or the bottom. So do the same with the other one. Fold your tabs in nice and square. And finally the last side. Doesn't take very long for this glue to dry, it's quite fast. It's good. Just squeeze it about a bit to straighten this up. Then they should fit together just like that. There's your box. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Please like the channel because that'd be very useful. And if there's anything else we can do that you find of interest, let me know and I'll get it sorted for you. Thank you.